If I've tried. I figured it's it. I was just talking to chat and telling them that it has been 2 days since our last episode. And within those 2 days in our last episode, I have been outside working in the heat. Y'all, I mean, it's probably like 80, 90 degrees with humidity. And guess what I was doing? I was building a fire. Not just a fire, I mean a big fire. I was building a big fire. What? Well, this is a big fire. So we were adding wood to the fire. And it was hot as freaking, it was hot as balls outside, yo! Freaking movement! I mean, literally. In the middle of a field, where there ain't shade in, we were throwing wood into the bonfire. And there was 2 different bonfires. We were throwing wood into the bonfire, and I was drenched in sweat. So normally, for those that work outside in the heat, they know you have to protect your skin. Sometimes they wear long sleeve and, long pants. I was wearing a black shirt, a black t-shirt, and some jean shorts, and some boots. Baby fat boots. And holy freaking foodway! It was the first time maybe ever that I had worked in the heat and drenched and sweat, and I was doing work. I was helping with manual labor. Manual labor, y'all. Freaking amazing, right? I impressed myself. I did not think that, I would be, etherically sound of mind to throw logs into a fire for all day. But I had fun. Yeah. I was in the country. We were pretty much, bacon on this open field. And within the open field we had big fire pits, and we were recycling supplies, In all seriousness, there was a lot of wood that we had to burn. And it was already 80, 90 degrees outside with, a humidity index. And somebody had posted a meme. They're outside, and there's under some, under some water. Cooling them from the freaking hot day. And that totally resonated with that. I'm like, today, I might as well have been living Sahara. Helping, build my shrine. And not just my shrine. I would build it into some sort of amusement park. Memories for the kids, and things and stuff and such. Oh, speaking of memories, I had also believed y'all have also, through the lens of the Switch chats and my Glitch chat, because I'm an undercover guy. As they would mention. Poor day. How dare you? Just assume. I'm they them, y'all. I'm they them there. However you choose to interact with the world, the amazing thing, interacting with the world, opening your third eye, to Bondi and Botox. Because only on some days I'm posting those topics. Happy day. Alright, so let us start off today with reading some planetary energy as we normally do. And today's episode is labeled correctly, It is Treat O'Clock. The clock helps balance out, the ratios and the attitudes of the people of the land. Does it ratio out attitudes of the people of the land? She just asked the same question twice. As a matter of fact, I did. And I'm happy that you noticed. You're paying attention with your brain. There was an identical me somewhere in the world, and it's like, death can't have any. And then also, totem boats and still winded from the work day, Just figured it is. So, I almost tried to drink through my spoon. Realized it was my silver straw, so I have a silver straw. I'm mixing up my coffee with my silver straw. Like a freaking real not a real sticky, like a real unsticky, like a sticky. Woo! I don't know what I want to do. Somebody else work, I'm feeling somebody has a paper cut in the chat. Somebody I get it. Things gotta be English. No! Somebody in the chat needs a hug. Hug. Energy. I'm a teen, bottle, baby. Coming back with you right away, honey. Alright. I am all hyped up on Greek caffeine, you know? More hyped up on caffeine. And enjoying. Thank you for joining me, and I enjoy it. It's all roller coaster through the realms of secrecy, where we must tie our shoes as we start off today's episode. Nicer than Mr. Rogers. No, I'm Mr. Good. Miss Rogers. Miss Rogers. How can you better handle your frustration? Today could be kind of jarring when the moon in Aquarius aspects Pluto retrograde. In Aquarius, Jupiter in Gemini, and Mars in Taurus. How can you better handle your frustration? Today could be kind of jarring when the moon in Aquarius aspects Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, Jupiter in Gemini, and Mars in Taurus. Since this is a jam-packed day, you might be going through it. Your anger and lack of patience could be larger than life. On the side of caution. And don't do something you might regret in a moment of frustration. In a moment of frustration, you must embrace your emotions to better respond rather than react and face the conscious consequence of regret through a moment of frustration, through a moment of realizing where you can better your expression and direct it towards a directive rather than a reflective. Now, not rather than a reflective, rather with a reflective. So, a directive with a reflective direction. Within infinite directions and infinite realms of possibility, within the notion of where you can imagine yourself enjoying company that may at first seem scary, because often we live our life through the lens of expectation, through the lens of expectation of how we can definitively guess our life circumstances to be, even if we are not necessarily within a mind and or a possibility and or opportunities within our surrounding notions of directive. Notions of directive within a reflective essence. So, to direct a comment or a notion of a comment, within interstellar interpretation and effective empathy and compassion within deducing the possibilities of truth within a directively non-directive notion. Whenever we express ourselves, whenever we make a post, that's a directively undirected notion. Or maybe it is a directive notion towards a reflective truth. Reflective truth would be within the realms of people, places, things, personalities, characters, character traits, character notions within our definitive relation between emotion, directive, non-distorted through the lens of non-directive. Non-directive could be where within the essence of crossroads, blending through the lens of perspective, directive, reflective, and resolution. Within resolution, I think I would notice that within an example of directive reflective notion, I'm one that I'm very animated as I am processing my emotions, processing my perception spiritually within the notion of reality. The notion of reality would be a definitive reality. Through the notion of reality, we begin to incorporate opportunity within the notion of reality and directive. Whenever you're a force of nature and your energy naturally is that of a directive energy within the infinite loop of life, evolving within affinity and evolving within infinity. And I would begin to look at the definition of affinity. And infinity, because there's affinity definition within biology, chemistry, pharmacology, physiology, medical. It could be a medical anatomy. It could be an antonym. Within definition of affinity, it's a spontaneous or natural liking or sympathy between someone or something. A similarity of characteristics suggesting a relationship, especially a resemblance in structure between animals, plants, or languages. Now, the affinity is the spiritual draw towards. Maybe your attention is within a magnitude and spiritual affinity to be directed through the notions of affinity within the essence of infinity. Now, there can be a definitive affinity and there could be a choreographed affinity within the essence of life. Now, this is the tipping point between marketing and consumerism. Marketing and capitalism, within a perspective of notion between the corresponding force of affinity that would be the constellation of choreographed, within a marketing gray area of a, contrast, black and white, structured society through capitalism, through socialism, through many points of ism, within the affinity towards the reciprocity between capitalism and consumerism. Because that's the essence between business and, affliction. Now, affliction could be a natural occurrence, and affliction could be an occurrence towards the state of affinity that is either choreographed for your attention and your predetermined notions of deducing right and wrong between reality and between the essence of discerning. Within the essence of discerning, there is a spontaneous, natural liking or sympathy for something or someone. That's your affinity. Now, affinity within the essence of infinity. Infinity, the theory of the infinite loop of conscious and, reincarnation and birth and, rebirth of ideas, notions, and evolution within society. Because, within a tempered and, historical society, there are points of contention between the leveling off of our conscious mind, the leveling off of our structured mind, the leveling off of our contentious mind, contention between the construction of amazing ideas. Now, we've read the affinity definition within its natural definition. Affinity, chemical affinity in physics and physical chemistry. Chemical affinity is the electronic property by which a dissimilar chemical species are capable of forming chemical compounds. Chemical affinity can also refer to the tendency of an atom or compound to combine by chemical reaction with atoms or compounds of compounds of unlike composition. So, within affinity, within infinity, and within evolution, we are naturally compelled towards certain notions of character and so on within chemical affinity. In understanding that opposites attract, within understanding that, predetermined natural affinities, of character, of choice, based on where you are in life, what you look like, where you're from, could be within the class-based system of, how much money is in your bank account, to how many people, have you collected as a friend or a follower within the essence of socialism, society, things and stuff and such. So the modern conceptions within chemical physics and physical chemistry, very, similar between the golden line between idea, emotion, realm of predetermined closeness of conception of a belief within practice, precision within realms of what is that whenever you're bound to marry through the essence of your parents choosing, what is it? That's arranged marriage. That could be the line between the chemical physics of physical anatomy within predetermined notion through society's lens. That's, through society's lens, that's what, muddies up the truth within reality. Because there is a definitive database between the physiological and psychological compounds of couples within arranged marriage that are more predetermined to enjoy the essence of, till death do us part, rather than whenever we preconceptualize, some certain instances, make choice of who we would be in life, who we would be with in life. The choices between, the chemical compound of our thoughts and our ideas. You have to realize that our mind and our brain is a pharmaceutical industry of its own, and chemical compounds are brought into physical reality and notion through the feelings, the feeling in physical chemistry of, hugging yourself, embracing yourself, naturally releasing, chemical compounds within the feelings of feeling good about yourself, feeling good about life. In modern terms, we relate affinity to the phenomenon whereby certain atoms or molecules have the tendency to aggregate or bond. For example, so within the realms of closeness and precision, within the alchemical compound and binding of spiritual essence, within the notion of arranged possibilities, playing out within a natural realm of choice and consciousness, and that's, beyond the essence of realms of opportunity that I mentioned earlier, within the realms of opportunity, within the realms of, predetermined vision, being, alchemically in line with the affinity between the chemical physics of possibility, ideas, just ideas rather, even within the physical chemistry of arranged ideas, arranged, notions that would create a natural, prolonged essence of enjoyed reality, enjoyed realms of reality, and within enjoyed realms of reality, feeling the balance between what you expect within the realms of reality, what you unknowingly expect within reality, and the correlation between that and the non-direct essence of expressions that we share that are part truth and they, part sustenance of sincerity within your essence, within your determined interpretation and correlation between your beliefs, your truths, your desires, becoming in cohesion and forming an unknown expectation within your subconscious that could, throw off your internal balance of truth and fiction, belief and distortion. Now, there's a difference between distortion and disillusion, because disillusion, there's also a similarity there, because, disillusion breeds a sense of distortion within our definitive realms of reality. Now, next question would be, how would you define your definitive realms of reality within the collective mind of emotion and the collective mind of experience and the collective mind of directive? Because that directive is leading towards an expression of experience that may be, emotionally predetermined within your essence of expectation and subliminal, subtle expectation within your mind, and the balance between expectation and delegating within the realms of directive, directing your energy towards a definitive outcome, right? And the frustration that may be felt within the realms of your definitive outcome being an effective characteristic of non-directive. Me smiling at you would be a non-directive. In my mind, I may have emotional expectations, within predetermined notions that, I smiled because I had hoped that you would smile. Or that I smiled because I hoped that you would enjoy the shared moment of, characterized, determined, non-directive notion of experience, shared experience between two individuals, the reciprocity that is an unsettled factor of directive within our subconscious mind, and balancing out the accountability between your directive output and your direct reciprocity, and where there may not be the essence of things and stuff and such, in the essence of how is my reality so far from the essence of where my emotions determine belief and structure of knowing. What's the difference between belief and knowing? It's the definitive action of directive towards a non-definitive. I aim towards non-definitive because if you aim towards a definitive, things and such and such. I, as a female, have to the extent of reaction between myself and the world, I try not to hold on to expectations. And where I do have expectations or hold on to expectations, it's within the realms of, emotional reciprocity, which is within a spiritual notion. And that is one of the hardest to, determine within modern concepts of belief, reality, practice within the advanced sense of arrangement. And, even within the advanced sense of arrangement, the natural state of equilibrium that is naturally balanced reciprocity between the notion of arrangement being a harmonious compound of atomic tendency. We want to present the essence, within a thermodynamic range of possibilities, following the affinity of positive, spontaneous reaction, definitively useful, quantifying the factors of responsibility between, responsibility, accountability between both states of equilibrium within, changes of state of non-equilibrium systems, within the realms of spontaneous reactions of natural affinity and natural chemical and, alchemical spiritual bonding, as a reaction, progress within the variables of life. Within life, to create, within points of contention, we find points of contention within the lack of quantifiable variables, leaves us within, possibility of chemical reactions that can be proven through the relationship of wholes, which is still a non-determinative rate of change within uncompensated heat reaction and reaction progress within variable. Now, this is science to the average, to the intellectual, to the definitively wealthy of spirit, wealthy of, of material, wealthy of financial, these are all alchemical energies compounded within different realms of existence and different realms of dimension, and understanding that everything has a frequency that can be measured through an electromagnetic reader. A stud finder in the wall is, alchemically processing the density of matter within the space between a wall, our physical facet reality of a wall, and, the depth within the surface of facets that we find ourselves, at odds end to realizing, beyond physically, trial and error, putting your ear to the wall and knocking and finding the hollow space, finding the void, and within void, it's not a hollow space. Within the alchemical compounds and reactions of spiritual essence that is spontaneous reactions that may have been guided or may be within the variables of contemplation, because even within the states of variables, we find ourselves within the divine notion of higher existence, meaning not the essence of defined chemical affinity, as far as relating chemical affinity towards spiritual predetermination and the rate of change between uncompensated heat of reaction and the cue of reaction progress within the variable extent of reaction. Within states of reaction, and then is definitively and spiritually, alchemically different from the variables within the non-directive notion that becomes a seepage of ideas within your collective mind and your collective actions and your collective choices, down to the very truth and pollen and atoms that make up who you are. Balancing between the notion of reaction. You define yourself by the reactions that you are predetermined, affinitively speaking, as far as opinions, not just opinions, opportunities. Opinions, opportunities that are presented to you. The reaction, your reactive self within these definitive opportunities and opinions. And maybe the real person you are is not necessarily the reactive state of variable, rather the responsive state within your reactive state. So you have to realize, within a state of response, you could predeterminedly be a reactive compound within a responsive structure, and within the balance between your reactions and your responses, even derives into the essence of truth within chemical compounds of that of what your brain produces whenever experiencing the emotions of reacting when you want to respond and responding when you want to react, and the balance between the arithmetic of self that you definitively begin defining yourself within the variables of the non-directive notions in your life. Whatever's on TV, that's a non-directive notion. Maybe there's a, directive ideas within this non-directive notion, but for you, as it appears as a non-directive notion, inspiring and or not inspiring, guiding natural states of choice, and within defining who you are as a person, that's based on your choices and the, how your choices have inspired, guided, progressed, the possibility of your spiritual and chemical reaction as a human being, proven through the relationship between the essences of relatability between words spoken, following the depth of relatability beyond that which we can see, touch, smell. Through hearing, we can begin to naturally vibe within the notion of truth, and we can be happy within the essence of you do not have to have a result within the essence of natural truth. That's where our non-directive and our directive mind begins to, throw us off balance and throw us into balance within a chaotic notion of emotion being the result of non-discriminative reactions within a possibly discriminative and or biased truth or variable truth within your reaction process. And within the variables of your reaction process, there's only about 5% notion of new evolving choices made from a definitive mind that is based on the variable of progress, but not understanding the variable and the rate of progress within the unseen true realms of reality that we choose not to grasp onto within, a definitive reactionary realm and world that we live in, because the deviations from the spontaneity of equilibrium between the world that the capitalistic mindset has allowed within the socialistic structure, and within the definitive notion of choice. Between the definitive notion of choice, capitalism does, structurally input definitive notions and definitive algorithms within, as a reactionary process within balancing, the chemical compounds that flourish within the instance of realizing the actual amount of individuals that are viewing you, and not correlating that to how individuals interact with you, because that is within the balance of the responsive mind and the reactive mind. Whenever we are operating within a very reactive mind, definitively we crave to be within the responsive side, and yet the responsive side of reality scares the crap out of us, because that would require spiritual accountability within the notions of everything that I have stated and mentioned within this discussion and within this conversation. And there I go! I didn't forget that. I tried to slurp my coffee through my spoon. Stiggity. Now there is a chemical bond within electronegativity, symbolized as X, is the tendency for an atom of a given chemical element to attract shared electrons, or electron density. I almost read it as electron destiny when forming a chemical bond. An atom's electronegativity is affected by both its atomic number and the distance at which its valence electrons reside from the charged nucleus. A valence electron in chemistry and physics are electrons in the outermost shell of an atom that can participate in formation of a chemical bond. If the outermost shell is not closed in a single covalent bond, a shared pair forms with both atoms in the bond, each contributing one valence electron. Corresponding to a noble gas configuration. For a main group element, a valence electron can exist only in the outermost electron shell, which within chemistry and atomic physics may be thought of as an orbit that electrons follow around an atom's nucleus. The closest shell to the nucleus is called one shell. It's also called the K shell, followed by the second shell, or the L shell, then 3 shell, or M shell, and so on, farther and farther. Now, within modern concepts and early theories of spiritual affinity defined through the alchemical affinity of natural essence, natural examples, electron affinity is the ability of an atom to accept an electron. Within accountability, electron affinity is a quantitative measurement of the energy of change that occurs when an electron is added to a neutral gas atom. The more negative the electron affinity value, the higher an atom's affinity for electrons. So within a state of definitive action and non-definitive action, whether the action of definitive action be a negative action within the relation of bonds of electromagnetic correlating to the affinity of magnetism between compounds having a natural affinity to gravitate and to emanate and to orbit one another within a spiritual essence, being the non-definitive notion. The definitive notion being the physical characteristic and space between the atoms in question within the essence of spiritual alchemical compounds, spiritual alchemical bonds, alchemy being the turning or the measurement, the alchemical, between chemical compounds being made into gold. Alchemy from the Arabic, ancient Greek, is an ancient branch of natural philosophy and philosophical proto-scientific tradition that is historically practiced in China and India. It's a form of chemistry and speculative philosophy. Alchemy is a form of chemistry and speculative philosophy that was practiced in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. Alchemy was concerned with trying to change ordinary metals into gold, with finding a universal cure for disease and mean for prolonging life. Alchemy was based on the idea that matter consisted of 4 elements: earth, air, fire, and water. Alchemy aimed to alter the proportions of these elements to make desired substances. Within the form of chemistry and speculative philosophy and the defined notions of the alchemical process within the natural state of resonance and the natural state of being, within alchemy being processed within the realms of an algorithmic mind. So, you may ask, who has practiced alchemy? Alchemy practice was within a diverse range of individuals throughout history. Some notable groups and figures associated with alchemy, I can list, some medieval alchemists, During the Middle Ages, alchemy was practiced by scholars, monks, and other learned individuals. They conducted experiments in search of the Philosopher's Stone, a legendary substance believed to transform base metals to gold, and the elixir of life, a potion for immortality. The Islamic alchemists in the Islamic world, alchemy flourished between the 8th and 13th century. Scholars like Jabir ibn Hayyan Geber made significant contributions to the alchemical knowledge. They translated and expanded upon Greek texts, emphasizing practical laboratory work. European alchemists continued the tradition, often working in secret due to controversial nature of their pursuits. Notable figures included within these studies Chinese alchemists. Ancient Chinese alchemy focused on achieving longevity and immortality. Practitioners. Sought elixirs made from various minerals, herbs, and other substances heavily influenced the Chinese alchemy. Hermeticism is a spiritual philosophical movement incorporated in alchemical principles within the infinity of our existence and history, written that is prevalent within certain present-day truth notions in association with, the legendary figure Hermes Trismegistus, with both alchemy and esoteric knowledge. The royal courts and nobility, some rulers, nobles, sponsored alchemists hoping to gain wealth or immortality. For example, Holy Roman emperors that supported the alchemical research. Remember that alchemy was a blend of science, mysticism, and symbolism, where it didn't lead to the transmutation of base metals into gold. It laid the groundwork for modern chemistry. Within the episodes of esoteric wisdom and super lit implications within esoteric wisdom in correlation to present day circumstance, present day correlation, I find our episode today, our discussion today, our conversation to be not only enlightening, not only lit, not only something to relive, reword, reinvigorate, to practice, for you to practice within definitive action towards definitive implications, within definitive implications to definitive truth, to definitive notions, definitive freaking stiggity. random day. What a freaking episode. Stickity. I am very, very much looking forward to reviewing, rewatching, and adding today's episode to the beautiful collective BMF episode. Ain't right as big. To the collective success of our secretivism within the notion that I am not one, I am 1,000,000,000. Yeah! This is whenever you light your lamp. You are not one, you are 1,000,000,000. 1,000,000,000. Stickity. And the balance and understanding between and the correlation within opposites being that, to be spiritually wealthy and to be financially, materially wealthy. It's almost there is a alchemical compound bond there within the resonance of delicious and delightful. Please do stay tuned, for I am going to be playing some games and things and stuff and such. I don't want to mix the gaming part within this episode because I am really vibing with the resonance that I am downloading from my conscious mind, being that today's episode has literally, solved world hunger in, certain parts of the world, and things and stuff and such. I have added, years to my life and years to your essence of Litaki spiritual knowledge. Padawan. Stickity. So, be sure to stay tuned, stay lit, and stay ready to interact within the realms and segments of stream where we respond to our reactionary things and stuff and such. And we play games and make a meme and comment and have a commentary on some channels and Twitch. And stuff and such. Stay tuned. Stickity, stickity, vibe chat.